My name is Steve, the Affordable Life Coach. I have been doing it over 14 years. If you're interested in a complimentary consultation, my email is in the description. I had never had a client on the first session, and even majority of sessions thereafter, s- contact me and say, Steve, you know what? Something I really want to work on is to be less defensive with people, is to be open and receptive and have conversations when I get criticized or judged. Nobody ever says that. And it's something I work on with clients because I have seen the value and the power in being non reactive and being less defensive and being more open and receptive. And my most challenging clients are my defensive clients. And sometimes I have to keep myself in check because when I see a client get defensive, I'm like, oh, I just know it's going to take so much longer for them to make progress and for us to accomplish the things that they want in life. Remember, it is internal problems and internal solutions. I tell clients that you're the problem, you're the solution. A lot of them don't like to hear that, and I'm very honest. And when people are defensive, and I would say the majority of people are, this is something I have been working on within myself of just being more open and receptive for a long time. And I don't know, I've been involved in self-development and psychology and things like that since I was a teenager, like probably 14, 15 years old, even younger. And I just intuitively knew that when I become defensive with another person, I've given my power away to them. I now need to change their mind. And I need to convince them that what they are criticizing me about or judging me about or their opinion is factually incorrect. But if I know that internally that what they're saying is not true, why waste the energy? And what happens is people will weaponize your defensiveness against you because they know that you will have a reaction when they criticize you and you don't like to be criticized or judged or given constructive feedback. And it's a way of manipulating you to get you to do what they want or behave in a certain way that they want. So if someone tells you, "Oh, you know what? You're really selfish." I'm not selfish. How could you say I'm selfish? I did this for you and I did that for you. What they're saying is, and it could be genuine, it could be honest, and it could be accurate. But your reaction goes, "Oh, when I tell him or her that she is selfish, look how she reacts." And it's a way to punish her or him. And it's a way for them to be more motivated to change the selfish behavior because it can't handle the criticism. And so you're giving your power away. Instead, when I'm coaching clients and couples, I really give them, especially new clients, I test them and I will give them constructive feedback and see how they respond. And I've got a whole gamut of responses. And it's not anything like harsh or mean or cruel or rude. It's just things that I'm picking up on. Doing this, I've been doing this for a long time, so I can read patterns. And human beings, they have a lot of similar patterns, and defensiveness is one of them. And when I throw something out and then they push back on it. No, that's not true. How could you say that? I disagree with that. That's not right. I get clients that will just say, I disagree. That's wrong. Off of one sentence, not having a conversation about what I said, or about what their partner said, or what about a family member said, or a boss said, the immediate reaction of human beings is to defend ourselves. And we think if we're defending ourselves, we are, it's a form of being strong and showing that we're strong and we're not going to be bullied or we're not going to be criticized. But what people don't realize, it's total weakness. The more insecure clients are, the more defensive they become. And when you hit a hot spot, that is something that when they become really defensive, it's something that they're truly insecure about. And that's what I don't understand. If someone in their heart of hearts knows that they're not a selfish person, they're very generous, they're very kind, they're very loving, they're very giving with people, they wouldn't respond defensively about that. Now, you might say, so, yeah, some people might still because it's their reputation. Fair enough. But the intensity of the reaction generally is a reflection and a mirror of the insecurity that they have deep within themselves. And if somebody says, "Oh, you're very selfish," that's not true. Instead of saying that, what I work with when I'm doing couples coaching, or I try encourage clients one on one, is ask questions. Oh, you think I'm selfish? Thank you for telling me that. Could you let me know why you feel I'm defensive? Excuse me, why I feel I'm selfish, and what things I do that make you feel that way. Oh, well, when we go out and talk, you never ask about me, or you rarely ask about me. Okay, that's fair. And I understand. Thank you for sharing. Because if you shut them down, they're still going to feel that way regardless. A man or woman convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. And it might be something that you just didn't want to cross a boundary. Let's say it's a friend and they're having relationship problems. Maybe it's not a real close friend, and you don't ask about that because every time you've asked about it in the past, they get really upset or they start to cry or they get depressed on the topic. And then you have a conversation about that. Oh, so I don't ask about you like you're talking about your relationship with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Yeah, you know that we're struggling and you never ask how it is. And then you have this whole conversation. Oh, I didn't realize you wanted me to ask about it because when I've asked about it, I saw how upset it made you. So I stopped asking about it because I didn't want you to put you in a bad mood talking about this topic. And then they go, no, no, it actually helps me because it shows that you're interested, you care, and you give me good advice around this topic. And we just have a discussion about whatever you're being criticized. And what I encourage people to do is just be curious. I coach, when I coach couples, it's just so instinctual. And that the person will say something that really bothers them or something that is negatively impacting the relationship or the marriage. And the other person will just right away, even after I tell them, listen, ask questions, be curious before you respond defensively, and avoid responding defensively, and first try to understand them. And I'll give them those cues, and immediately it's so deeply ingrained. 5 minutes later, that's not true. I can't believe you feel that way. No, and that's not how I do this and I do that. It's what you're saying is inaccurate. And I'm like, oh, because it's so. I realize sometimes I fall into a defensive trap, and one of the easiest things that you can do is just pause before speaking. It's just human nature to want to defend ourselves. When we lived in tribes, our status was one of the most important things that ensured our survival, being higher status and being liked and well received. And it's just the same today. People are very tribal. Well, when to the point, as we've seen, they'll compromise their values just to fit in and belong. And people don't want to be ostracized. So, but when you are defensive, you're not changing that person's opinion about you, and you're not understanding where they're coming from and able to address their concern. So just asking questions is such a, a powerful healing approach to understand the person and alleviate some of the pain, the frustration, or the anger the person has about the topic that they're bringing up. I have some clients, and one of the things I recognize when I'm coaching a client is my level of monitoring what I say before I say it. Because defensive people, what they'll do is they'll try to punish you passive aggressively or aggressively by finding a small hole in what you say and criticizing that. So if you don't say things in the exact precise way, or if there's one little thing that was not said correctly or accurately, and it's a minor topic, they'll focus on that so they don't have to face the bigger point that you are bringing to the table. So if someone is, and this comes up a lot in coaching, is like, we have a goal that they might want to accomplish, and they'll say, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do that. I'm not ready to start the business or change jobs, or I'm not ready to date. I have to get myself together. I have to be more financially stable. And I will say something like, is that true? Are you falling for belief systems that are just simply inaccurate, and that you're actually doing that from a place, saying that and believing that from a place of fear because you can't handle rejection, or your last relationship, you got rejected, it was painful, and now you want to avoid that pain, and so we manufacture excuses and justifications. Well, that's not true. I wasn't rejected from the last relationship because, I broke up with her or whatever. And I'm like, oh, you're missing the point. The point is we are operating and make excuses from a place of fear. And I hope that's clear, because I get that a lot. And so with some, and I'm sure you have people like this in your lives where you feel like you have to really overthink what you're going to say before you say it, or walk on eggshells, because they'll find the smallest little hole. And I don't like when I'm in conversations with people or with clients and I fall into that pattern, because I'm falling into their trap, and they're influencing and controlling my way of communication. My communication with clients and people in life in general, when I'm honest with them, and that's my goal, is just to be completely honest, because it's an act of love to tell people the truth. And then I have to worry about the delivery. Well, it takes me out of the flow. And then what I need to do is call them out on that and bring that to their attention and be more aware, and being able to handle them trying to get me off track of the main point that I'm making, and bring that to their attention. The other thing that is really a challenge with defensive people is they're not good listeners. Because when you are talking, what will happen if you say something that is a little bit critical or honest? Again, I'm not talking about rude. I'm not talking about like harsh. I'm just talking about honesty. And it's incredible. So many clients, I have noticed things about their personality traits that they're completely blind or oblivious to. And I will ask them, and I see that it's an issue and it pushes people away, or it's a turnoff to other people. And I said, has anyone ever told you this about your personality and how that could be a turnoff? No one has ever told me. And it's because when you're dealing with a defensive person, people don't want the headache of telling you the truth. It's just too much grief. You're not going to listen and you're going to be defensive. And that's a direct correlation, their level of insecurity and the level of defensiveness. Someone that is secure, confident, calm, can handle criticism and even welcomes it. So what happens is when I'm talking, coaching clients, and I'm giving them constructive feedback. And I'm not saying they have to agree. Please don't confuse defensiveness with agreement. I'm saying at least be curious and ask questions, be open and receptive, and that your own self-assessment could be and most likely is inaccurate because we are very poor self-assessors. We do not see our blind spots, and we do not see our faux pas or our character flaws or our weaknesses or personality traits. And that's why it's such a blessing to have someone in your life that is going to tell you the truth, even though it's much harder for them. I tell clients that it would be much easier for me to, like, some clients that have come from therapists or other coaches that are just more passive, more empathetic. Oh, that's terrible. That's really tough. I'm sorry to hear that. Or just repeat back, what you say. They're not used to a more direct style that will challenge them. And I always start small. And if a client can't handle it, I don't take it to the next level. But the most exciting thing is when a client is open, receptive, and like, bring it on, tell me more. I want to grow. Because if you're defensive, you're not going to grow, or you're going to grow. Your growth will be very stunted. But it's very rare I get a client like that that says, Steve, I want that, like, will solicit for me. What I get is, oh, I want you to be completely honest. And then the moment I'm honest, they start like having a temper tantrum. They start, how could you say that? And it's just like, for me as a coach, it would be much easier for me to be a passive coach and not challenge clients on their blind spots. And it is so draining. My clients that are highly defensive after the sessions, I'm drained because it's a lot of work to help them to heal the wound in themselves that causes the defensiveness in the first place. And what you'll notice when you're talking to a defensive client, or person in your life, when I'm talking to a defensive client, is they are so focused on the playing defense that they're not even hearing what you're saying. And you will say one thing they disagree with, and this happens so regularly that you say one thing they disagree with, they'll, like a dog on a bone, they'll latch onto that and won't let it go. And they don't hear anything else that you say. And so you got to keep that in mind, and asking them questions, getting them to self-reflect is a helpful strategy. And just being honest with them and saying, hey, I'm telling you the truth because I care about you. And I'm sharing this video because we all have that within us, that defensive trait. And I'm encouraging you to challenge yourself to grow and overcome it. And coaching is such an effective way to do that because you're not going to get that level of workout that you would get in the real world because most people are not going to want to bother doing it. And most people are just afraid to tell the truth. And so most people just bite their tongue, don't speak how they really feel, and people please, either passively or just phony. They just come out and are just completely phony about it. And it's really exciting when I start off with a defensive client and we just gradually, they become more open and more open and more receptive, and we can do some real work and some real growth. But sometimes it can take so long to get to that point because they feel like defensiveness is protecting them, and they don't realize you're not protected if you wall yourself in and away from other people and you're not vulnerable. Like that is a sign of strength when you can be vulnerable with other people. Defensiveness is the biggest sign of weakness. Hey, I'm getting a call. If you like affordable coaching, email me. It's in the description. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. Thanks for watching.